ladies work for us. Oh, there we go. Hopefully it's going through.
It's so cute. Oh my gosh.
And it looks like people are voting in the poll about what they think of the February book club title, The Ladies' Guide to Etiquette and Murder. Right now, 5 stars is winning at 46%.
I have my phone up. I have the stream on my phone.
This is, okay, I'm just going to dive right in. I have all my notes in front of me. So I'm just going to start by introducing this guest hostess because I absolutely adore this woman. So I have known Tori for a little while now, and I just showed her the images I made because she is one of my romance reading friends. When I first started my dissertation, I was doing interviews with readers, and I just hit it off with Tori. You're not technically supposed to become best friends with one of your interview participants, but I just loved her and kept her. And so this is us at our first RWA. I believe this was, Denver? And then we did New York a few years later. So our guest hostess tonight is Tori, aka Eliza. I mean, you have your own little pen name that you're going. So do you want me to call you Eliza or Tori? Are you going? Which one do you want to go?
One's fine. Maybe we'll do Eliza just to keep it like less confusing, and easier for me to, to find me.
Well, this is her information. I had the best time creating this graphic for you. I just loved all of the different colors that you had. And so, of course, I had to add some florals because for some reason I was feeling very floral vibes for you. And so
I am a floral vibes girly, so I appreciate it.
Well, behind you, so I always watch The Office. You have the beat behind you. And I was thinking Schroot's Farm. And so for some reason, farm, floral, my brain process there was a process there. But this is Tori's information. I will include her information in the description box as well, so you guys can connect with her. She is so lovely. And she also talks a lot about romance. So there is romance in this book. So she's the perfect person to have guest host tonight as well. So I'm very excited for this conversation. But
I am so excited.
For those of you who are new, I'm Angela, your creator and hostess. I go by Angela Maria on YouTube and across social media because there's already an Angela Hart. And so to differentiate, I throw my middle name in there. So technically you can just call me Angela, but when you're posting about me, it's Angela Maria. But I'm so excited to have this woman joining tonight. And I'm just going to throw this up here because I can't believe we're at the end of the month of February. So we have one book club title already done for Vinyl Resting Place. And now we're talking about A Lady's Guide to Etiquette and Murder. And I'm going to throw this up here because the book blurb is actually really long and kind of impressive. So right now, you guys, please comment if you liked the book. What did you think about the stars? Right now, 5 stars is winning at 50%, which is, I mean, I'm so happy you guys enjoyed our book of the month. And apparently it is an 8-book series. So if you liked the book, you can keep going.
I didn't know it was all 8.
So right now there are 7 in print and the 8th one is coming in June, I believe. And if you want, I'm going to give you guys a little heads up. Depending on what you're looking for, there are spoilers in the book blurbs. So if you want to go read book blurbs for 8, 7, you're going to be getting a little spoiled. So if you don't want to know what's going on with the romance apartment, with the family, with the friends, hold off on that for a hot beat. Giving you a little warning if you're a spoiler alert person. And oh my gosh, the comments are pouring in. Oh my gosh, thank you guys for joining. I'm going to try and pull some of these up. Welcome to your very first Cozy Mystery Book Club live stream, Sarah. Oh, Alabama. Someday I'm going to have to do a map showing where everyone's joining from because honestly, it's so impressive when you guys are joining from across the states. I mean, we have people across the globe. Oh, I love it. Thank you guys for joining and celebrating Cozy Mysteries with us tonight. Oh, I know. We have to call her Eliza. I need to think of you as Eliza, the author, instead of Tori, the BFF.
Either is fine. I mean, just because I have Eliza on the screen, I was like, it might be easier to find me. But thank you. The fit check, I was saying, we were talking earlier how I was thinking about what to wear. And I was like, okay, I got to go for, like Regency, murder mystery kind of vibe. So that's why we got the Ouija board planchettes and the little lace. So, and yes, if you see my cat might be popping in and out, so just ignore him. He's needy.
Well, we had a cat cozy companion, sort of. There was a cat gifted to our leading lady's daughter. So you being a cat mom is actually right on point for the night. I'm a dog mom, so no dogs tonight. I mean, she's being watched and she'll probably join later. It's Daisy May, for those of you who don't know, because you are joining for the first time. I have a little teacup Maltese named Daisy. She's very cute, but she has a big personality. But I wanted I just wanted to point out the lace because you actually mentioned that before. And I was very impressed by that because if you were new to the book club, you might not know how extra I am when it comes to our book of the month. So I did this last month and I didn't even point it out. So I've been getting my nails done to match our book covers. So I actually have purple ombre nails in honor of the purple book cover and the purple shirt to go with the book cover. So this is my full-on dedication to the book club. My nails are now matching our books of the month. I did this last month, but I didn't point it out.
So cute though.
Yes, I wanted to have the black because he had his black tuxedo on, hence like the black floral. So this is what I do for y'all. This is where my mind goes.
I love that though. That's so, I love it. It's like extra in the best way, which is how I live my life.
Oh my gosh, I'm looking down all of the positive comments. I'm so glad you guys have been enjoying this book. See, this is the thing. I never know. I absolutely love that the books are voted on by book club members, but some of them I haven't read. And this was one of those titles that had been recommended by people before. So I kept putting it off for my own personal reading because I figured someday it was going to be a book club title pick. So I hadn't read the book, and I never know if something's going to pop up, if someone's not going to like something. And it just makes my heart so happy when I see so many positive responses that people are enjoying the book. I'm like, whoever first recommended it, I mean, you guys voted on it. So this was really a book club pick from being recommended, voted on, and just seeing the positive response, I'm just going, oh, thank you. It makes me so happy. I'm so relieved and appreciative. So I really want to know what you guys thought of this book. And I love how she's like, did I see a cat behind you? I'm pulling up a comment. And so, yes, we're going to have cats joining us tonight. More cats, the better.
Yeah, there is a very, very, a different cat. He's very large, and if I'm sitting at my desk, he gets very excited. So we might have a special guest at some point. But
like, it's a cat. So depending on the mood, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
But they just do their own thing, you know, and there's not much you can do about it. So especially with cats. Oh my God.
So I am curious. So we kind of just originally jumped right on in talking about the book when we were off camera, but we do have to talk about, what did you think of the book? Is there something you want to immediately start talking about, whether it's one of the characters? We're going to probably be spoiler free for a little bit, and then we're going to have to get into this mystery because there is a lot to unpack. And this ending, I posted the poll in the Instagram stories. I believe it was 60 something percent said they did not guess the ending. And then I posted the same poll again, and I think it was even higher at 78%. So people did not guess this murder mystery reveal. So we're going to have a lot to explain and go over tonight. So I'm really excited to see what you guys think about this. But what did you think of our leading?
Spoilers free first. So I'll just say I did not. I guessed half of it pretty early, but we'll get to that later. I really like this. I've been reading Regency, like this type of era romance though. Classic way too young. I was like 14 reading Julia Quinn and then Lisa Kleypas, you know, so way too young probably for
Lisa Kleypas, like, she's the queen. She was probably the Julia Quinn before Julia Quinn was Julia. I mean, Julia Quinn has always been a big name, but I think like Lisa Kleypas was pretty a big name, the historical romance for a long, long time, and then Julia Quinn just blew up after Bridgerton. I mean,
exactly.
I knew immediately reading this. I'm thinking, okay, she's read her Beverly Jenkins. She knows her Tessa Dare. She knows her historicals. So I was pretty sure some of the references going, oh, she's going to appreciate these.
Oh, I really did. And which is why I felt like, okay, so I've never read a cozy mystery. I've been I know. But now this was like such a good, like, dip your toes in because it was a little bit of what I know. Mm-hmm. It was a little bit of romance, which I was really here for. I really enjoyed this, like, a lot. I love, like, right off the top, I love that we have a widow heroine. And I love that she wasn't, okay, I'll just say, I love that she wasn't like a virgin because there's nothing I hate more than virgin widows. You know, it's just like.
She has Rose. I mean, this woman, I was so impressed by our leading lady for so many different reasons. And so I actually had a notation at one point. I love that you said that, but I'm also trying so hard to keep a straight face. I love that she had agency, and it wasn't a matter of, okay, the husband died and now I'm just a lot of times they're static. Like all of a sudden we're in mourning, we stay in mourning, the family controls them. It was almost a modern story in a historical setting, which I liked. I think that's where I'm going with that with you.
Yeah, I really like that. I like that it was, she had agency, but also with it also being kind of like enough of the time. It wasn't a 20th century woman dropped into this historical setting. It was like, no, I'm going to control myself and my finances, but not like, it wasn't absurd. It was an absurd level.
I mean, she wasn't so modern of like, of course I'm going to get my own finances. She was appreciative that she had them. And she was very clever. So where is this note? There's so many different things I have here in regards to notations. So one of my biggest pet peeves, so again, you're new to Cozy Mysteries, but people in the comments have probably heard me mention this before. If they're returning, when you confront the killer alone, we're not going to get into actual spoilers here, but when the person's like, I'm just going to go confront somebody, and they're just like leaving their business totally open and nobody's there to man the register, or they close in the middle of the day for no reason. We have sleuthers, and you know the phrase, too dumb to live with a lot of the heroines. And I liked that ours was not one of the too dumb to live. I loved that she actually was like, okay, my daughter is so important to me and I don't want to lose her. I don't want to leave her. And yes, she wants to go ride her pony, which I thought was hysterical. The daughter wanted to go spend time with Pierre.
You know what? If you've met a 4-year-old though,
you get it.
My niece is 5. She would pick a pony over me any day, and I understand.
Yeah, like kids, I mean, it's what they do. And so I like that she sent her daughter to the country for safety. That's a separate point, but I like that she thought that she was sending her daughter to safety. She thought she was getting her away.
It was a good thought.
She had the thought process of let's get her away from trouble. So she got her away from some trouble, not all trouble. Again, spoilers, but she definitely wanted to try and put best foot forward, make sure Lily and Rose was safe. I also love how the sister's name is Lily, the daughter's name is Rose, and her name is Frances. I kept waiting for her to be like, no, my name is actually Marigold, or my name is actually this flower. I kept waiting for it to be a flower name at some point. I don't know why.
So I actually had to, I do a lot of, I live in New York City. I do a lot of my reading on the subway. Especially in the morning. And so I have to tell you, I typed out and printed out a little write-up of all the character names and put it in the inside cover, because I got like halfway through the book and then they kept bringing up all the different suitors. And I was like, which one is this? And then I don't know if you've ever had to read like Russian books, because as I
you mean Crime and Punishment, Dostoevsky over there doing other stuff? Yes, I remember reading The Idiot. There's like so many.
Where like everybody has 4 names they go by, and that's what I felt sometimes, where they were like, oh, the Viscount, and then versus George versus like Hazelton, and I was like,
which one's which?
That's why I had a cheat sheet. I had to just have a cheat sheet in the front. I just gave up and I was like, I need everyone's names written out.
I do that in general. Once it comes to notation time, I even start writing down the characters that we only meet once. So Alonzo is the younger brother, and he's only mentioned in a single sentence. But I'm like, I need to know who Alonzo is for the future. And then there was household staff that was literally mentioned once when she went to other people's places that I wrote down. But I have to say, we had a book one time, and this author drove me absolutely batty because all the characters had the same letters with the first names, and I kept getting them confused because it was Sarah, Sydney, it was Shannon, it was too much S's.
Writing 101
yes,
is kind of a thing, is where they're like, you need to differentiate the names. And there's only so much you can differentiate them in like historicals, because they're all going to have very Anglo-Saxon British names. You're not going to have, unless somebody is randomly French. So you're not going to, you're not going to have that many, crazy names.
The only overlap was Graham and George with the G's. Other than that, she was pretty good about making sure they all had different letters. And for some reason, because I had actually just filmed a YouTube short and edited it. And so eventually, if you guys subscribe to the channel, it'll be up there in probably a week or two talking about having the different letters for first names, because again, it is writing 101, but it does get overlooked if I've seen it with authors when like they have one too many books going on, or they just get confused, or I forgot this character at the beginning had this name, a character in the middle all of a sudden has a very similar name. So it was just a little idea I had, so it was right on my mind. But I love that she did not fall into that trap because she had so many characters, and I appreciated that, because very much like you, I was getting, wait a second, we have this suitor, so we have his name is Leo, but what is his last name? We have this one over here, and then all of a sudden it's his last name, but we forget his first name. So I had to make sure I had their first and last names with me at all times, because I kept forgetting, like, wait, Leo is which one? I kept doing that.
And like, is that a suitor, or is that like the 90-year-old grandpa? You know, or is he? Are they important? You know, for instance, like, you know, there was the ballroom scene where many ballroom scenes, but where you know, one of the characters bumps into the other one, and me, you know, baby sleuther, or at least being a New Yorker, I'm like, oh, pickpocketed immediately. I'm like, you know,
I'm with you. That we can actually.
There's a pickpocket on the loose. Somebody's, you know, you're being accidentally brushed against. I'm like, okay. So I was, you know, but like, I'm like, okay, who is in the scene now? Mm-hmm. Oh God, are they important? Like, who did the bumping? Okay. So I literally have notes, and then like when they're towards the end of the book, they did a sit down and they did all the dates and times, and I wrote that down too. I was like, okay, people who have been robbed. The Haverhills, their snuff boxes on April 5th. I'm like, if you're going to give me a timeline, I'm just going to write it down.
Yeah, so there was the very first group of ladies that introduced the robberies and the 17% mark. So first of all, I'm just going to throw this. We're going to have to talk about this at some point if people read this as a paperback, ebook, or audio, because I listened to it as an audiobook first. So when I went back to the ebook, it was at the 17% mark in the ebook that they introduced the robberies. And there was Mrs. Richardson, Anne Haverhill, Mrs. Foster, and Lady Caroline. I'm like, are they going to come back around? Kind of no, they weren't really that important, but they made the list of characters. But you were reading the paperback version. You held it up. I held up mine.
Bit of both. Again, I was reading it. I have it on paperback, and then I also had my Kindle, because you know it's much easier. It's hard to subway and book, so sometimes I just have my phone in my hand, and I can also get away with reading at work if it's on like desktop,
like on the down low.
So I just but it was so funny because I did notice the things that I did get to see on the Kindle version. You can see what people like to highlight. And so there were other times where I'm like highlighting things on there too, going like, imposter. This is sus. You know, like when the Delaney was was running around in the beginning, and it was like, oh, somebody's following me. I'm sure that's fine. And I was like,
well, I mentioned because I absolutely loved the narrator for the audiobook. That helped me so much with keeping things straight with the characters. So this is why I wanted to bring it up, going back around. She was fabulous with the different voices for the different characters and the different accents. So we had an American leading lady with Frances, and then her friend Fiona, she did the British accent, and yet she was able to differentiate a different British accent when she was doing the mistress. I think it was Amelia. I have it in the notes somewhere. So she was doing the different voices.
I have to know now because I didn't listen to the audio. Did they give the South African Viscount a different British accent?
Yes and no, but I mean, she did a really good job trying to do different men voices. I really enjoyed the narrator, so that actually really helped me with this book and keeping things straight, because I'm going to be very honest here. And I did enjoy the book. I don't mean this is a bad thing. When I was reading the paperback version, I was having a little bit of a difficult time because all of a sudden I was getting like a little jarred. Maybe I wasn't totally invested quite yet, or maybe other things were on my mind. But as soon as I put on the audio, I fell right into it. I listened to the whole thing in a day and a half, maybe. And then when I went back and read it, I was literally imagining the narrator's voice as I was going through it again. And so for some reason, the narration really helped put this book into like a positive light for me. And it's not that reading it was a problem. It was just for some reason, once I started having that English tone and the way she enunciated certain things, I was just ready and more able to, I think, just absorb the story. That's a way to phrase it.
That makes sense. Yeah, especially to differentiate characters, I think would also help. Because again, not that because
so
there are a lot of characters, which makes sense, I would think, for a mystery, because you don't want to have 4 characters, one of whom is the murder victim, you know, and then you're like, oh, you know, there has to be a mystery. But yeah, it was a little, I think for me, it really was because names are similar. Again, this is not a knock against the author. It's just because of you're writing in, you know, England. Like there's only so many names you can kind of give people. And then because she had to use title and then first and last name. And then sometimes also you have to go by like the Duke of whatever it is. So, which is why I was thinking it kind of really reminded me of Russian novels that I haven't read since college, you know, where somebody had said in the
you don't read
chat,
those
like,
in your spare fun time. You don't think those are just, let me read this on the couch with my cat. No. I took Russian in high school. I took that as my foreign language in high school. I just remember "Я не знаю." I don't know, because that was my go-to answer for so many things. And then I remember it was "Я американская," like I am an American. And it was like after that, like, can you just speak English to me? I was so bad at my Russian, but I know exactly what you mean. But in a weird way, I kind of think that goes to this author's credit with Dianne Freeman there, because it shows she did her research. Like she knew the time period. She got the clothing points right. She referred to things properly. And she didn't do that anachronism of using the wrong, it wasn't purse, it was her satchel. And then there was something else that she had as the terminology for her bag. And so I'm going, thank you so much for doing your research and knowing how to properly refer to this. So even those like little details just very much impressed me, because sometimes they will say like handbag or something. I'm like, did they really say that in the 1800s? Really? I mean, she gave it a nice little flair with the historical vibes consistently throughout. It's like, even when it might be a little bit more difficult to follow through, like she was still more authentic to the time frame, maybe, if that's the way to phrase it.
No, I would,
thank you, Reticule. Thank you. I was having and I also went back to the notes. I had to look it up. The mistress's name is Alicia. I said Amelia for a second. But
I loved her.
Okay, so we have to talk about, there's some things we need to talk about. We need to talk about the dead husband,
I loved her.
How he died, and the mistress. We have to talk about these things.
I loved her. She was probably my favorite character.
Really?
I'm like, okay, listen. I love Frances. I did love her. I did love Frances, but I love an unapologetic person. I love somebody who is candid and honest, and like, I mean, I can forgive her a little bit for the whole cheating thing, considering, you know, Frances wasn't in love with her husband either, you know, and like,
it wasn't
it's not great,
like inserting herself into.
Yeah, and so and her on-screen time was so funny, because her just like running around like flirting with the younger guy and being like, well, he's not married yet. And then, you know, I really liked her. I really liked Alicia.
She had one of my favorite comebacks for the story. And I was kind of shocked by this, because again, cozy mystery, things are very PC, very Hallmark. And she goes, well, do you know how many affairs I've had? And our leading lady, Frances, says no. And she goes, exactly. I'm going, oh my gosh, what is going on here?
I
was like, that was very saucy.
You know what she kind of reminded me of a little bit? Of like Lady Danbury in the Bridgerton series, you know, where you kind of have to find your independence where you can. And for her, it's her own like sexual independence. And yes, it's not it's morally gray, but again, I appreciate somebody who she was also quippy. That was what it was. And they could have, I think I also appreciated that they could have made her the villain,
Yeah.
the jilted, lover, the mistress. You have to say it in that voice. The
I was going to say,
mistress.
this is going to be saved as an audio. So I love that all of a sudden is going to become the audio version. I can't say it like that, though. I love that.
The mistress, the lover. You gotta put extra syllables in there. The lover. But like they could have made her evil, the evil woman. And
she comes back around. So I'm just gonna. This might be maybe not a mini spoiler, but for the latest book in the series, the one coming out in June, her name is in the book blurb. So she's actually coming back around. She's gonna be a consistent character in the series, which I thought was so entertaining because again, the mistress you don't think is gonna become a we're gonna see her again in books 2 or 3 or book 8. So she must have hit a note with readers where the author didn't mind including her again. So it's not outside the realm of possibilities that people enjoyed her. I mean, you enjoyed her, people in the comments, although I think some people said they wanted Fiona over her. But we did get a lot of Fiona. Hopefully we'll get more Fiona down the line. But I'm with you. I think that this is, again, to the author's credit of it could have been very stereotypical where she's the scorned mistress and now these two women are butting heads and it's over a man and it's always over a man. I mean, I just was very appreciative of the fact like it did not go down that, okay, we know this road, how this is going to play out. This woman, we're going to talk about this. This woman and her share a very important secret and they keep the secret and it bonds them together. So the husband, Reggie, Francis, was with his mistress, Alicia, when he died. And so he died in Alicia's bed and he was not clothed. So Alicia goes and gets Francis. And all of a sudden, these two women are like, we need to dress him. And now we need to move him from your room to his room. Hence George. We're going to have to talk about George. George, Fiona's brother, the neighbor, the romantic interest. These three characters are bonded together forever because they move a dead body and don't tell anybody. And the part I'm just gonna say this, they never tell anybody. The inspector is asking about Reggie's death, what happened the night of. Nobody cracks under pressure, so it's still just these three people,
which is really impressive. The fact that no one cracks, like I'm waiting for the secret to be revealed, because that's like it's a big secret. So the fact that at no point does anyone crack, especially under investigation, because
I just saw this from Marta's. So very Weekend at Bernie's. Thank you. That is great.
It is. I
mean,
and yeah, that opening, like, the beginning of her going out, and, I'm going to, be independent, and then doing I thought the flashback was super clever. And then it's such it's morbidly funny, like in a, like, if they wrote it a little, they could make this easily like a slapstick, like Shaun of the Dead, Monty Python kind of British slapstick of like, the body like just like flipping around and, the mistress half naked as well, just being like, can you help?
I mean, there was a lot of funny moments in this book. Even something, I mean, I thought Fiona always ditching the brother at the breakfast table because he gave her a little bit of gossip. Like, she would go to the brother's house because, first of all, he had the better food. He had the better layout for the breakfast. So Fiona's visiting her brother, George. And then all of a sudden, he'll tell her some, like, little morsel, and she'll just get it from the table and run next door to the best friend, and she's just leaving him to eat his breakfast alone. Like, random little things like that made me smile. So even just the tone in general, it's always difficult when it comes to murder mysteries where they're happy murder mysteries. Well, how do you make murder happy? And I think Dianne Freeman kind of nailed it.
Yeah, I think because, I mean, there are only really, because there are the two mysteries going on, which are between, there is the thefts, and then there's also, the murders.
Yes.
And so they kind of, I know in the beginning I was like, okay, I kind of thought about there being two different people only because, like, it's a very different skill pickpocketing somebody versus, like, going into the room and stealing something. So, yeah, keeping that, like, levity, though, I think is hard. But I think that she really did a good job. I thought more often than not, it was funny versus like dreary.
I love that people are referencing Downton Abbey. So I'm seeing people reference Downton Abbey and Bridgerton. And I do think that this author watched Downton Abbey. I definitely see the Downton Abbey vibes. I saw on Goodreads, people in the comments were saying there were Downton Abbey vibes. So it's kind of funny that everyone's seen, if you've seen Downton Abbey, I see the correlation. I see the connection there. I think that's really funny.
I still need to.
At some point you will. There's so many there's so many shows, there's so many things to get caught up with. It's hard to stay on top of everything. And then you have someone like me who's like, yeah, now I'm gonna go watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine or The Office for the 10,000th time for no reason. So
yeah, exactly.
I saw people talking about the Biscuit Boy. Like, again, these random things are so cute. Marta and Crystal T. Knits are both mentioning the Biscuit Boy. I love that he didn't want to share the biscuit. And like, she knew that. She's going, no, you enjoy them. But like, those are the things that take a book up a level for me.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really cute scenes. It wasn't like ballroom, sitting room, ballroom, sitting room. It was, you know, there was a lot of movement. I think is good in an author. There's a lot of movement without you feeling confused. You know, there's a lot of different scenes and vignettes. It wasn't just, again, oh, we're gonna go to another ball and another ball.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you have to move your husband's dead body in the middle of the night.
So this is my other thing about that particular scene. It could have been montaged or just like glossed over, or she could have just been like, and now we did this or that. Like, she went into full on detail of, we found him, we're talking this through, we're thinking it out in the moment. She did not miss a beat. Like, she went from point A all the way down to Z. Like, she did not miss anything in between. Like, she just
in a flashback too.
Realism. Like, I'm sorry.
In a flashback as well.
Yes.
Which, like, I think flashbacks are hard just because, you know, it's like it can feel corny or forced. Yes. You know, like, hello reader, hello big flashing lights, this is what you should be looking at. But I thought that it was fun, you know, and it was done in the right way, dropped in there, you know, because it was pretty early in the book. It was like her leaving and then flashback. You may be wondering how I got here.
I knew I had it because I printed this out. This is why we're friends. Same wavelength. So I actually printed this out, and I love how I had temporarily misplaced it because Daisy was on my lap when I was getting organized for the live stream, and she wanted the paper. She was trying to eat this. So the quote is, I suppose this would be as good a time as any to recount the story of my past relations with him. And for some reason, I just was so struck by this sentence. I highlighted it because on one hand, I'm going, she's introducing the flashback. Is she breaking the fourth wall to sort of talk to us as the reader? I mean, is she giving us the narration of her mind of, now this is, I'm giving myself a moment to think back? For some reason, that one sentence struck me in such a way that I felt the need to print it out. I love that. The author did a fantastic job with the setup of the mystery. She sets the scene beautifully through. And then I love that you guys in the comments are talking about the different shows. I mean, seriously, there's so many great TV shows. Gonna have to make a list. I love how this has nothing to do with cozy mysteries, but they are totally great shows. I saw a Buffy reference above. I just rewatched Buffy, so there's always time for Buffy and Downton Abbey. Yeah. So we've been talking long enough where we can probably get into some of the spoilers with this, but we do have to talk about George at some point because
I love George.
I was going to say, is he book boyfriend material? Are we rooting for this relationship? Was he likable? Was there anything you guys were like, no, we have to talk about this one scene because he helped move the body. So right from the get-go, he's a good guy.
Like, I did improv in college, and like, George is the king of yes and, you know, just like, you need me to hide a body.
That's a great way of phrasing it. Yes and.
You just improv, basic improv 101. Yeah, okay, that's what you need. Yes, and, you know, you need me to break into somebody's house? Yes, and I'll do it. You want to come with me? That was like the only time he was like, hey, maybe no. But he was still like, yeah, he was like, all right, well, fine. I love George. I was like, he was a lot of fun. And I will say I said I was listening to you earlier from last month and talking about how much you hate love triangles, and I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
I hate love triangles. I won't get into how much I hate them. I think they're lazy writing, but not always. But I think
it can be. It's one
it
way
can be
to
really
prolong the drama. That's a whole separate
yeah.
conversation.
I think that they end up a lot of times they end up being like just prolonging unnecessary drama. And I love that like there was no love triangle in this. It was just like, and then there was just like it was just him slowly sneaking up on her, and he's like slowly being like, okay, but like I'm actually really dependable. Anyway, do you want to get married?
So we have to talk about this because part of me thinks he was kidding and he's just being chivalrous. The other part of me is thinking he really likes her and he kind of meant that.
I think he meant it. You don't go to a woman's house that many times
if you don't at least have some inclination towards her.
No, because like I think he was so serious. Because if he was joking, I think if she had said yes in that moment, he would have been like, all right, let's go. It's
like,
on.
And Gretna Green, let's go in the carriage. It's waiting for us.
Yeah, I think he was ready. I think I got vibes that he was into her and has been into her for a while. I don't think he would have helped her hide the body. Listen.
He helped move the body. And he kept the secret from even the best friend. The sister is her best friend. And he never told the sister. He didn't tell Fiona. So for some reason, him not telling her proves the loyalty component for me. I don't know why. Because he'd probably just be like, yeah, she's going to tell Fiona eventually, or Fiona's going to be there to help her get through this. He didn't tell the sister. So he gets extra bonus points for that one.
No, I got the vibes that he was like really into her and would in a heartbeat marry her and was trying to like, he's like, I think he was doing a bit of like sussing it out, like, haha, we should get married. Wouldn't that be great? Haha.
I like this comment from Vicky. He had to leave to get his composure back after the proposal. Very true. That proves it was real. I like that comment.
He had to make a phone call, which is what we all do once we've been rejected. You have to.
It reminded me of like fake texting when you're like, no, I don't want to talk. I don't want to have this moment. Like, I'm going to pretend to be doing something over here. I'm like, we are literally having historical cozy mystery fake texting moment.
Yeah. He's like, I got to take a phone call. Nobody has phones anymore, like yet. He had to make a phone call.
You have a phone in the house? Wow. Can I see it someday? I love that she wanted to go see the phone.
I know. I think she was being a little obtuse, and like, I think Frances felt that he was joking, but like, I think he was so serious and he was ready. He was like, it's fine. Like, I don't need your money. I just think you're great. But I also respect her being like, I just got out of mourning. I just have my own, like, again, I'm getting Lady Danbury vibes of like, thank God my husband is dead. I get to do what I want now, and I'm not going to put myself under a man's control again.
Yep.
So,
I just saw this comment. I appreciated this too with Crystal T. Knits, that it was so cute. She was sneaking into his house just to have conversations with him, and then they would send. I mean, they had a really cute dynamic going on, and I appreciated the fact that it was almost a little bit of a slow burn. Like, yes, he did propose, but they didn't kiss or anything. It was those longing glances that the Victorian era. We just had that moment, that longing, and
they
was
breakfast together.
I know.
They have breakfast together. They break into a house together. They're basically dating.
Well, even then too, right? He gets along with everybody else, which is what I think is so great. So, again, we've been talking for a little bit. We'll get into spoilers. So I already kind of know who Lily is going to end up with. And then when I was going to the book blurbs, I was going, okay, I was right. I knew why. Basically, I knew the second he had the kitten, he gave the cat. I knew that this was the good guy. As soon as you give the cat, like, you're the good one. And so George getting along with the daughter, he was helping the daughter. He was actually holding and helping with the hands. He was nice with the sister. He was nice with the aunt. Like, the fact that he got along with her family so well, you're going, okay, we know you're a nice guy. You're here for the long haul. It's the family component. It's not just you liking the person, you liking who comes with them, and the daughter being a part of that. I'm going, thank you, George. Thank you. I'm like, thank you for being a good guy.
It was so cute. Okay, I did a little bit with the cat though. I was like, I had the opposite. I was like, evil. You
He's
don't give
trying too
somebody
hard. He's
no,
trying too
I was like, you don't give somebody an animal that didn't ask for it. That's giving,
hard.
especially a child, that's giving them responsibility, and it's manipulative. But
I mean,
I
again,
did,
he has 2 other suitors he's competing with, though. He really wants the
yeah,
wants
he
to
had to
win the
really
love.
like do flowers. You know, if somebody gave me a cat on the first date, I would be like, you're insane. I would keep it.
That's like I love the comments I see on Instagram of like if this romance trope happened to me in real life, I would be calling the police, getting a stalker, you know, getting they're getting things put in place so that I didn't actually have to see you again. Yeah, the guy tells me he loves me on the first date. Run for the hills, not insta love, romance, the Lex O'Reilly, none of that. No, we're running for the hills. Like
Yeah.
real life versus no. But yes, we are keeping the cat because this cat was adorable. And people in the comments, this was one of my questions because I've converted my mother to Cozy Mysteries and she enjoyed this book. She loved this book. And I asked her and then she didn't know, do we know the name of the cat? Because for a hot second, I had to go back to my notes because I'm going Leo, but Leo was the guy's name who gave the cat to them. So Leo is not the cat. He is the guy who gave the cat. Do we know this cat's name yet? Hashtag keep the cat. That's great. I love that.
Listen, it's not the cat's fault that somebody made a poor decision.
Well, no, I mean, also, I'm with you. I have a dog. I know how big a responsibility animals are. If you are not ready for that responsibility, it's not fair. Yeah, thank you, Sins and Sensibility. No, Willoughby, we can keep the horse. That is a great reference. Thank you for bringing Jane Austen into this conversation.
Throw away the man, keep the cat.
I mean, yes.
But again, it's, you know, these also, to be fair, these are fabulously wealthy people where like, you know, me taking care of a cat, I'm like, oh God, this is more money and like, you know, and, you know, where am I going to put the cat? And I live in a very small 2-bedroom apartment as well in Brooklyn. So there's not any more room for litter boxes. We already have 2 cats. It's enough. But yes, I agree. Now, through that lens, though, I think that makes a lot of sense that, like, he's, you know, he's in with the family. He's showing himself to be a good guy. You know, it makes sense.
Yeah, he did technically, cat mom, he did technically ask for permission, but at that point he already had the cat. The cat already loved Francis. Francis was loving the cat, cuddling. Once you see a cat, though, you're going to want to keep it. I mean, even dogs on the street, I will see them and be like, I want this golden retriever. I have no room for you, but I want you. Okay, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm loving how there's so many things to talk about. I'm like, oh, yes, and this and this and that. So we did talk about briefly the robberies that happened. So there are 2 mysteries going on, but I do just want to say very quickly, Francis with so Alicia, the mistress who had the bracelet stolen, her bracelet was put into Francis's reticule. And I love that you guys knew that word right off the top of your heads. You guys are great. So when her maid finds the bracelet thinking she just bought the bracelet, her first thought, and this is also why I appreciate her as our sleuther, is to return the bracelet. She doesn't want to keep it, hide it, pretend it didn't happen, be like, oh, no, I don't want to get involved with this. Her first thought is to return the bracelet. And this is also the catalyst for now we're going to go to the mistress's home and all the inspector is already there. And now we're making a list of who was there, who's that. For some reason, her wanting to return the bracelet, I'm going, thank you for being a nice person. I know you're a fictional character, but thank you.
It was smart, you know? It was like one more instance of her not being too dumb to live. Was like, I could have this obviously stolen bracelet and get rid of it, or, you know. Yeah, but she was like, no, the best thing to do is just to go, return it, explain what happened, and then also figure out, you know, why. Because obviously it was planted on her. So you have to figure out, you know, why. And if she just kept silent about it, that would have, you know, yeah.
I mean, the fact that she wanted to return it, because there's so many other ways that you could have, as the author, or you as like a person, could have responded of, oh, I don't want to get involved with this. Let's throw this out with the trash and pretend like I didn't see this. You know, you could have been a bad person and been like, yeah, let me gift this to my daughter or my sister. I mean, it could have gone in so many ways. And there are so many characters you've seen that with, the stereotypical evil ones in books. So I just love that she was like, let's return this. Let's have this out. And I also just saw the comment, we're going to have to talk about this, Inspector, because it kind of gave the inspector a different viewpoint of her, of, yeah, all of a sudden she's returning the bracelet and she's inserting herself in a different way. So yeah, my question was going to be if you guys liked Inspector Delaney, because that was one of the moments where I think he kind of saw her differently, instead of, hey, did you murder your husband? Oh yes, thank you. Yeah, she could have been vindictive against her. Like, there's so many other ways that could have gone.
She wasn't. Like, I appreciated that she was just like, it's not Alicia's fault that my husband was a terrible person, you know? Like, yeah, that was the thing, the more awkward. It was like more awkward than anger. She was like, I'm not mad at you. It's not your fault, you know, that my husband is a cheating person.
Yes, we stay very PG here on YouTube.
I know, person.
So we can fill in the blank, imagine expletive there. Like,
I wasn't sure. Delaney, I thought, was just kind of annoying. I'm gonna be honest. I was like, go away.
He wasn't bad at his job though, which I appreciate.
No.
He was looking into stuff and he did share information with her, which helped progress the narrative. He could have just been like, nope, moving on. I mean, technically speaking, he was also her employee, which is a weird way to tie in when she wanted to have her sisters, the suitors, investigated, and he was the one investigating them, supposedly, though he didn't really do any investigating, and I'm not sure if he should get paid for that. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I love that he was moonlighting as a private investigator. You know, I feel like, are you allowed to take side jobs? You know,
well, he has his third kid coming. I remember that. That was cute.
I think, you know what it was? The reason why I was immediately like sus about him is because he was following her in the beginning, you know, and I literally have in like the Kindle notes, I have in all caps SUS, sus, you know. So I'm just like, I don't trust you. But
true.
But I did
he
appreciate
was following her. It was sketchy. Yeah. Like, if you're a woman and a guy's following you, he's immediately gonna be on your radar. I mean, just saying.
And his excuse was bad. Because I remember in the beginning he was saying she was like, why are you following me? He's like, oh, well, I was going to talk to you, but you're with your daughter. So I was waiting. And then you took so long to get home. And I was like, like the daughter, you were just waiting on the none of that the excuse didn't make sense. But I think that was supposed to be a red herring. It was obviously a red herring. But I was just like, I still don't trust you. As soon as somebody's suspicious, I don't trust you. Like the whole book, the brother-in-law, I was like I didn't think he did it because I thought that was too obvious, but still I was like, it doesn't matter. I still don't trust you. I don't think you're murder, but I will say the spoiler, I did not suspect the sister-in-law at all.
I know. We're going to have to talk about the mystery. That was where my notes were going. I was trying to get a little organized and I'm seeing some of the comments with this. So I was fascinated by this and I was curious. People, again, in the comments, it says 4% for 1 or 2 stars, 7% for 3 stars, but everybody else, I mean, a majority of y'all really seem to enjoy this book with 4 and 5 stars. So I was curious what you guys were going to think of this, and it seems as if you didn't mind. Essentially, we have 2 different mysteries with 2 different murderers / bad guys here, and you really couldn't solve the entire book. So I was very curious how people were going to respond because you couldn't really play the whodunit game and win. I felt like this was an unwinnable whodunit, and I don't mean that in a bad way. This was wait a second, a surprise whodunit reveal. So I was there for just being in the story versus trying to play the game. And I'm glad I took that approach because if I tried to play the game, I think I would have been disappointed because we had 2 separate people. And I don't know, did anybody figure out there were 2 separate people? Because I was trying to piece things together and it wasn't until we knew the big reveal where all of a sudden I had this light bulb moment of the 2 different murder weapons and both of them being very gender specific, poison or the murder, and again, this is also part of why I'm fascinated by this. The very first murder does not occur in the book. It occurs before the story begins. So we have a murder mystery that kind of is occurring in the first 50%. And then the second body drops at literally the 53% mark in my Kindle. So the second murder doesn't happen for a while. So this is a murder mystery with almost a murder and then definitely a murder, because the second victim was not just over medicated. He had the slit throat, which is more of a male approach, and that's more violent.
That could happen to anyone. That could have been an accident.
The slit throat in the backyard, of course.
Yeah.
He's coming to, blackmail, get information, whatever. That's natural. He just slipped and, fell, slashed. It's normal. But it wasn't until I looked back and went, oh yeah, like women poison, men typically do this. And yes, gender norms, but that's just typically what happens when you have these sorts of stories. But the two different murder approaches should have been a light bulb moment, keep in mind, but it didn't occur to me until the very end of, yeah, those are very different approaches. And so I did not suspect two killers until it was pointed out. And I'm going, oh yeah, that makes sense. But it wasn't until the big reveal.
I immediately suspected Thomas. I'm like, again, I have to be like that's what I keep looking at is my little handy dandy sheet.
Oh, I have all my notes in front of me. I have two different legal pads going on here.
Ainsworthy, the man from South Africa, because of the Lisa Kleypas novel, that happens where I think it was the half brother, the actual like Duke or whatever, dies and he assumes his role. And so I was like, a man is coming from a English colony and is like nobody, because they even did put a little line in there saying, oh, I wouldn't have recognized him if he hadn't said something. Yep. So I was like, you're fake. You're not a real person. I think I had like so many notes of just being like, oh, it's definitely, no, you're suspicious. But I didn't suspect, again, same with you, like that there were two murderers, and that he, and that I did not suspect the sister-in-law. I was so surprised when that happened.
So I'm glad people in the comments, there's only, I think, Crystal T. Nitz who said she suspected two different people. So I very much think I was following our sleuthers lead versus me as the reader taking my own approach, because when it comes to mysteries, we typically we see things through the sleuthers' eyes. We see things through the protagonist. And at the very beginning, Frances likes Delia and actually says, I hope she's on my side. She's slight, but she's powerful. She gives the impression of height, and she's very complimentary of her. And there are multiple instances in which she is positive in regards to Delia, the sister-in-law. And so because she's thinking that way, I was looking at her that way. And I realized after the fact, wait a second, I should have had my sleuther hat on. I should have been my Sherlock Holmes and kept things in perspective. Just because she liked her doesn't mean I should have as the reader. But I felt, again, Frances was so likable. She was a great protagonist. I followed her lead, and she was a sleuther. She did investigate, but she didn't look at Delia like a suspect, so I didn't.
Yeah, and I think the author did a really good job of setting up Delia as a foil to her husband. It's like, here's the bad person. Delia's trying to help Frances, and that's how she was set up as a character. One of my favorite pieces of writing advice I was ever given was that the ending has to be a surprise yet inevitable.
Oh, I like that.
Right? And so when they revealed Delia, I was like, it was a surprise, but it wasn't not like a cheap surprise, It was like, it's the like, it's the of course surprise, not not the like M. Night Shyamalan where you're like, yeah, of course the plants could talk.
Like the twin brother did it. There's always that like random twist. You're like, yeah, no, this isn't a daytime soap opera that's running out of things to do, and we need to do ratings. No,
there were breadcrumbs.
No,
they were there. There were breadcrumbs there, but I think that we weren't. That I'm sure if I reread it, I'd be like, oh yeah, here, and here, and here. But because you want to think of her through Frances's eyes as this kind foil to the evil brother-in-law, you don't want to think of her as, as a murderer.
Well, so someone up above mentioned it, and the only time I really started looking at her suspiciously was when she was going, yeah, send Rose with us to the country. And I'm going, why do you want to bring someone else's child,
Yeah.
separate mother and daughter? That was where I was kind of looking at her with a little bit. I'm thinking maybe she wants the money. I'm not thinking murder. I'm thinking manipulation. So I was looking at it.
I assumed it was just her trying to be like, oh, well, you got to come back to the countryside, you know, we'll take care of your child. Like, yeah, I mean, like the same, like how I thought of, you know, him giving the cat, you know, is like, you know, is like cats and children. It's basically the same thing, you know, is like whoever's taking care of your beloved is going to be, you know, you're going to think better of. And, you know, maybe she'd send them money to help take care of Rose. So.
Oh, Diva Temple, you never trusted Delia. You thought it was her, Graham, who done it. So Graham, okay, Graham is not a killer, but he is still kind of terrible. So I asked this question on the Instagram stories, and just a little side note, tangent digression. Whenever there's an Instagram story, question, poll, information about the book, every single book that we read has its own Instagram highlight. So things are archived. So you can always go back and see what people responded, what the poll results were. So one of the questions I posted was, what did you think of Graham? And people responded. So someone's like, at the very end, he wasn't as bad as I thought he was. But everyone else in the Instagram comments hated this guy as a character. And I kind of just, everything about him made me cringe. And the fact that he wanted to sue Frances for her money that her father left her, that was her right. I was so mad with this guy. There was nothing he could do to redeem himself for me. I was not a fan of Graham. So I'm just curious. Okay, people are making me feel better in the comments. Nope, didn't like him. He was horrible. You're also there like, no, Graham, we're done with this guy. Okay,
yeah,
what was it? What was it about Graham that makes you go, no?
I thought for a murderer, I thought he was too obvious. You know, it was like, there's like the obvious red herring.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's the not so obvious red herring. Like, I don't know what the, you know, the obvious red herring.
Like red herring number 1, red herring number 2, that's like kind of on the periphery. But you're looking at him, he was so bad, you knew he wasn't the murderer, but he was still bad.
Comically. That was what it was. It was comically, like, he wasn't evil, I'll say. You know, I think he was just not a good person. But I think he was just like the epitome of the English gentleman, you know, is like, or, you know, the patriarchy of, you know, this woman's money is mine.
Yep.
You know, and so you have no right to this. You are part of our family and you have an obligation to give us this money. And, you know, to an extent, him trying to save his ancestral home and his, you know, lineage, it kind of makes sense, you know, but, you know, he wasn't evil. He wasn't killing anyone. He was just annoying and terrible. And, you know, he was a plot device.
I mean, it's true. Like, there are different types of evil, and it was kind of ingenious to show the different types of bad characters you can encounter. And I saw the comment up above, women didn't have the same rights back then. I thought it was really clever how the author was specific about saying, no, my father didn't trust this family. It's specifically in my name. This, like, we had my dowry over here. There was other money invested, but this is just in my name alone. So I liked that the author kind of did her research to cover the historical component, but also leave room for like maybe that little historical ambiguity. I think she handled that very well. And I was so glad that George did not win any money. And I would have been very upset and would not read book 2 if he did, because then I wouldn't trust this author and her writing. So justice went out in the end in multiple ways. But Graham was definitely one of my least favorite parts of this book. And not in a bad way, like, oh, the author did a terrible job. Like, you were not supposed to like this guy. I don't think we were supposed to be rooting for him.
I think he was supposed to be the, like, comic book villain, you know, of the easy character to dislike and an obvious person to suspect, and then also work as a direct antagonist, you know, because like the murderer, you know, is kind of an indirect antagonist, you know, where you don't know what they're doing. The thieves, you know, who's actually stealing things, you know, it's the mystery, Yeah, as a
This
foil.
was a
Oh
comment. I
yeah.
saw this with Jamie. I saw this comment. I put it up before. I was like, this is the perfect way of phrasing it. He was the foiled for George and highlighted the life Frances was leaving behind and moving forward. This is it exactly. Like you summarized that perfectly because he does show for Graham in particular, you get to see the good guy versus this is the life. Like Graham and Reggie didn't get along, but I'm kind of thinking things stayed in the family with those vibes and aesthetic over there. So let's leave behind Reggie and Graham and let's focus on George in the future.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, trying to highlight how different they are, and also their ideas of how to treat Frances, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're not supposed to like Graham, but I don't think he was comically evil.
But we knew from the get-go, which I'm just one of my notes here, which I find funny, was she was listening in through the floor. So she got to figure out what was going on behind the scenes. But this is again where I think an author can really show their chops with writing, where it actually came back around at the very end with Lily, because Lily, the sister, was sent to live in the country and she was in Frances's old bedroom. And she goes, and did you know there's a hole in the floor that you can listen through? And you got Frances going, no, I didn't know that was a thing. No. Like, I just loved how we randomly had that detail come back around. I don't know why. That made me so happy.
Yeah, that was very funny. I did enjoy that. And yeah, that so, again, another comical moment. You know, I think the writing, I think the humor in this was like was really well done. You know, like her in the very beginning trying to get on. I'm just imagining her in these giant bustle skirts trying to like put her ear to the ground. You know, so but yeah, it was funny. That was a funny image in my head.
So people in the comments are talking about Aunt Hetty and how they enjoyed her. So I did want to ask what you thought of the sister Lily and the aunt, because Lily, to me, I mean, I was curious where they were going with her character. And this has nothing to do with the actual character of Lily, but I absolutely loved how her sketches of her three suitors was vital to solving the mystery. For some reason, I loved that detail that Lily and her sketches of them, like this was her artistic ability. She's trying to get to know these guys, see them through her sketches. I love that helps solve the mystery of allowing this couple to see them like, yeah, which of these three men do you recognize? I just love that her drawings were so pivotal to the actual end result with this. Just throwing that out there. I love that about Lily. That wasn't so much Lily's interactions with things, but what do you think of Lily and Hetty? What are your thoughts?
Loved Hetty. I think I've already made it known that I really like I like headstrong characters. I like characters that are maybe a little rude. That Lily gets to be sensible too. I thought Lily was 18. If you've ever met like a teenager and you're like, I need you to be sensible for 4 seconds. I'm begging you. I just need you to like there's a murderer here. It's probably one of your suitors. I need you to go to the countryside. She's like, but I want to get married, mama. You know, kind of like I think, but it was realistic. She wasn't vapid. She was a spoiled teenager. But I appreciated that they didn't make her also again too dumb to live, you know, where she was like, oh no, I think that getting in the car with him was a bad idea, and that's why I started walking away. I'm like, good, thank you.
Yeah, I was very happy with Lily at the end. At the very beginning, so I was also curious about this sister dynamic of Lily not letting the mother force her into things, whereas I feel as if Frances, based on the way she was describing things, was much more malleable for the mother. Lily seemed to be a little bit more stubborn and not let the mother get her way as much, so I kind of gave her some credit for that. But we didn't really know where she was going, of wanting to find the husband, being very flirtatious. She didn't really know how English society worked. She was asking the wrong questions at times. And so when at the very end, we find out she's off in a car with turned out to be the bad guy, the murderer, one of her suitors. So she's in the car, but it was because Delia and him kind of forced her in there. But then once the car was broken down, she didn't stay there and kind of let him be the man in charge.
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk back without you. I've got this. I know the direction of the estate. I'm used to here with the car, and then it turns out the car was fine, and he drove off, leaving her on the side of the road. But he went in a different direction, so she didn't know he left her on the side of the road. But she did not actually just sit there and be like, yeah, you're in charge, I'll wait it out. For some reason, her walking away was so indicative and just so important for her character growth. Like, it was literally like leaving her past self behind.
Yeah, I think that the author does a really good job of giving, I think, all of female characters agency. You know, it was like, yes, you're a product of your time. However, you know, you can walk away from somebody who's giving you the creeps, or, you know,
yeah, you can leave. It's fine.
Yeah, and you know, you can be, sure, you're a teenager who wants to get married yesterday, but you're still, you know, I mean, not quite you're an adult, you know, so we're going to, you know, you have agency. She's not like, I'm gonna go on this drive with the man who followed me to the countryside, and that's fine. I appreciated that.
Book? That's amazing.
Yeah, in that whole voice. And then she walked all the way home. You know, I appreciated that nobody was an archetype or you know, where you just want to strangle them and be like, you know, this is a bad idea. You're a New Yorker. I don't care if you're, you know, from like, I don't care if you're a wealthy New Yorker. You know not to get, when an Uber comes up, you check the license plate, you know, like, you don't get into cars with strange men.
Yeah, no, exactly. Thank you for saying that. And I just saw Marius comment about Lizzie walking. I love that. And we've used the word multiple times, and you used the word multiple times, agency. Like, all of the female characters really did have it. And I like the actual physical act of walking away from him. I mean, she said she had her reservations, but yet she still got in the car with him at the beginning with that scene. So I like that she grew and was like, no, I'm actually going to get out of this situation. So I like that people are saying they appreciated her character development.
Yeah. Like, she was annoying, but not egregious. You know, it was like, again, you're clearly a teenager. And while I don't think you should be getting married anytime soon because you're a teenager, I appreciated that she did have moments of like clarity. It's not like, you know, I don't even think she wanted to get in the car. It was because Delia was like, you have to.
I just saw this comment. You better begin voice acting. That's great. I like the twisting of the hair. That was the part. It wasn't just the voice. It was the action that went with it.
Oh, but yeah.
And I also saw people.
No, I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons and do a lot of character voices. That's all that is.
Well, you did say you did the improv, and I
love
that. I love the way you
contain multitudes. Get you a man who can do the yes and.
That needs to be a new catchphrase. Can that be on a shirt? I can make a sticker out of that.
You can have that. That's for free. Get you a man who can yes and.
Well, one of the things I've been doing is I've been designing stickers based on our monthly reads, and I didn't grab them. I didn't think to grab them, but I did design ones inspired by Vinyl Resting Place. So those did just come in. So I need to take those photos to share with y'all. But I haven't designed the one for this month. I was trying to do something to say historical cozy mystery lover, historical lover, but I think that needs to be the sticker, or at least one of the designs that I come up with.
You can have it. Oh, I will love that. I already have this. I have your stickers all over the place, you know, like I have and I have the doorknob hanger like right on my bedroom. There are only 2 people in this apartment. It's me and my roommate, but it still says, you know, leave me alone, I'm reading a cozy mystery. So it's important.
It is very true. I love this stuff. It's like, go away, I'm reading. Do not disturb, I'm writing. So we all need those things. Bring a little coziness.
I got my mystery, my magnifying glass. I was ready.
You really did bring it. You're like, you brought your A game with the outfit, with the lace. She's ready to go. I'm like, applause.
I'm ready.
Like, I'm ready to sleuth. I'm like,
I'm ready.
Somewhere.
I was ready to go immediately.
I mean, I will say you are absolutely adorable, and I want to make sure I mention that there is always a giveaway, and all the comments tonight will go through. I'll go through them all at the end, accumulate them all, translate them all to giveaway entries. So tonight's giveaway is Big Name Fan by Ruthie Knox and Anne Marie, and it's actually today's the publication date for the book birthday. And I'm probably gonna have to send you a copy as a thank you for doing this tonight because you're awesome. But someone here is gonna win a copy, and then I'm so happy that you guys are enjoying this book. But yes, if you have any comments, get them in because it will be your giveaway entry. So I am going to throw this to you, though, if there is something you want to talk about with this book, because you are amazing and I'm having the best time chatting with you. So if there is something you haven't touched on, I mean, now like go for it because I want to keep you and just keep chatting this cozy mystery. Everyone wants to stick around.
You did this, get you a man. You can, yes. Anyway, no, I think the only thing that like I had a little in my head was I will say I did think that the break-in scene was a little silly. Her joining, I thought that was silly. I get it from a writer. I'm a writer. I get it from a writing perspective. You have a first person. It's from her perspective. If you're gonna show action, you can't have him show don't tell. You can't have him recounting what happened. But I was a little like, you did that's silly. You shouldn't be going. Like, if somebody asked me to break into somebody's house, I would be like, no. No, yeah. I don't think I would be useful. And she was useful. I was glad that they made her useful. And it was a short scene. It wasn't like, I think it's because I'm so used to a lot of old school romances have women who, because they're like early wave, feminism of like, I can do anything women can. And you're like, well, you're not a vampire. So you can't. And you shouldn't go to battle. Do you know even how to shoot a gun? And no. So this had I'm a little touchy about that because I hate when women are dumb for no reason other than like independence. But but it wasn't egregious. I was like, okay, a little, but I understood for the point of the plot too that she had to go. Somebody said, Ashley Pendergrass said the kid in the window during the break-in scene was too funny. Agreed. I think that also made her like being there helpful because like she could roll. It's improv right there. She knew how to, sorry. She's like, oh, I'm here because of this reason. Doesn't matter. Go back to bed, child. I appreciate, so that was, I was a little like, okay, I was rolling my eyes, but Biscuit Boy. Yes. But I get it. It was cute. I was a little like rolling my eyes, but like from a story perspective, I understand why she needed to be there. But I was like
this doesn't make complete sense to me.
Yeah, I think mostly because I was like, let the professional do his job.
Because he is a professional. George has layers to him, and he's done this before.
He has a phone.
I know, and photographs. He's so impressed. I mean, he's so tech savvy. He uses photography with cameras. I mean,
I loved that. So that was the only thing I was a little. But other than that, but yes, Biscuit Boy. Biscuit Boy was very cute.
I think she wrote kids in a nice way. I was just looking because we were talking about Biscuit Boy. So I liked this. This is a very random thing to pull, but you look beautiful, mummy, not mommy, mummy, M-U-M-M-Y, not M-O-M-M. And she goes, I was sure hers would be the most sincere compliment I'd received tonight. For some reason, I just love that line with the little girl complimenting her mom because there is a few instances where we do have the typical old school vibe of go with nanny now. I liked having Rose in a few scenes, and I liked that she let her pick out the drapes for her room and pick out the fabric. I don't think I've mentioned this before, but I loved that she let the daughter have her own agency. Let's go with the keywords. Yeah. Let's go with agency, because she was thinking, oh, I didn't get to pick out the stuff for my room when I was her age. I didn't get to do this. I liked that Rose was
the
different.
Ugliest.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. As somebody who painted my room lime green with like Barney purple trim. I appreciate that that she was like, that's fine. You can go for the gaudiest thing I've ever seen. Like, that's fine. Rose was a prop, you know. I do think she was more of a prop than a character, but you know, I could see this being more of a, we're going to use her further in the future. Well, she'll actually be a character. Right now, she is just there as a prop for where she is needed.
Yeah, Lily had a lot of lines. Aunt Hetty had a lot of lines. Rose was kind of in the backdrop, but maybe she will, when she's a little older, help with the sleuthing. We'll see. But
I would love that. That'd be so cute. Baby Sleuther.
Where are you looking?
Hmm?
You said Baby Sleuther?
Oh, I was saying. Oh, yeah, she would be.
Okay.
She would be a baby Sleuther, and it would be so cute. Sorry, now I'm going on a like just imagining this tiny little girl with like a Sherlock Holmes hat, you know.
That would be very cute.
Detective Conan, the anime vibes, but
I mean, it would be very cute though. Get her sleuthing early. Get her own little sleuthing kit with the vibes. I mean, I do like, you are really having a bad week. Let's see if I have all this straight. In the past 2 days, someone has left stolen goods in your bag, broken into your house, and accused you of murder. So yeah, maybe it was a good thing Rose wasn't around as much, because yeah, things were happening.
Listen, we've all been there. You know, you've had one of those weeks where you're just accused of murder.
Yeah,
yeah. It's worse when somebody lays it all out like that. Like, you're just rolling with the punches, and then somebody lays it all out, and you're like, listen, I didn't need to. I came out here to have a good time, and honestly, I'm feeling attacked by the things that are happening in my life. Please don't list them all out. It makes everything worse.
But a lot of characters, a lot of characters were impacted by the things going on. It wasn't just Frances and her family. So I was making notations about this. So Madeline is Lily's new friend for the season. She's also coming out. She liked the Viscount Ainsworthy, the bad guy. He was the one she was most invested in. So I'm thinking, poor Madeline, she's going to have her heart broken. And then Bridget was talking about her friend who's the footman butler Barnes for the Viscount, and I'm going, okay, now he's unemployed and he can't get his character reference like she was afraid of. So other characters are impacted by all the murder and mayhem, not just Frances and her direct correlation to these things. The other side characters are getting impacted too. So again, like, little credit to the writer of thinking things through and having that going on. But there's a lot of ripple effects with this.
Yeah, it made reading it on the subway at 7 a.m. a little tough, you know, but I thought that everyone had, you know, a lot of things were going on, but it didn't feel long-winded, you know, where you're like, okay, get back to like what is actually happening. I do not care about so-and-so. And I think now, knowing that there's 8 books, my gosh, it makes sense to like have so many characters that weren't important, but I could see becoming important later. And also, I forgot to mention, I'm so glad that Lily didn't get married or like engaged or anything. I was like, you can't have her coming here and say, don't get married. This is a bad idea. Like, do 1 season, you're good. Mm-hmm. And then have her get married. I think it was really smart to have her like dip her toes in, see what's going on, and then she can, you know, go back to it next season.
I have to agree with that. I liked that. She was being the big sister, wanting the best for Lily, but Frances's own marriage gave her insight into the whole situation in a different way, because she let the mother bully her into a marriage that really didn't work out. And marriage might be the end game, but after you say I do, you are stuck with this person. And she really wanted Lily and the other friend Madeline to realize that, like, no, you don't have to. First guy proposes, you don't have to say yes. Even if it's George, apparently you don't have to say yes, even if it was, you know. But I just like,
you should have.
I know. I would have said yes to George. I mean, George is great.
I know. I mean, I get it. You know, your husband's been dead a year. Maybe you should like. Doesn't she go into half mourning now? Like,
I mean, I've read, so one of my favorite authors, she's a comfort read for me, Ruth Ann Norden. I actually got to see the progression of her career trajectory because she's been writing for years. So I think more people found her during COVID as one of those escapist reads. So she does a lot of historicals, and I got some of those vibes reading this, and her series was out first. So she has probably almost 100 books now, and I've probably read 80, like most of them. I've read a lot of them, and most of them I've read multiple times. But she has a series in which one of the characters, she's, again, to save her reputation, she's forced, I mean, they were just literally on the balcony, and all of a sudden they have to be married because people thought something happened even though it didn't. And so she's forced into a marriage, and then all of a sudden the next book, another friend forced into marriage, they start acting as the guides, and they start offering matchmaking and helping girls come into society. So I was getting some Ruth Ann Norden vibes reading this, going, oh yeah, this is something that goes on in the tone. I mean, I just want to say Ruth Ann Norden, I can throw her name in there. If you like these vibes, it's a romance novel, so but it does have the same historical tones with the relationships, which I know you would appreciate.
I started rereading because this book reminded me of it. One of my favorite books called The Madness of Lord Ian Mackenzie. It is one of my favorite like historical romances, and there is a mystery in it because there are 2 murders. They both happen off screen, and there's an inspector who's hounding this family who he thinks did it. I actually just really appreciate, I really love this book because it's historical romance, and the male protagonist has autism. But it's historical, so obviously they're like, oh, he's insane. But like I love that book so much. I forget the name of the author. It's called The Madness of Lord Ian Mackenzie. I'm rereading it because it's one of my favorite books.
And immediately one makes mental note to go buy it on Amazon.
Yeah. Let me remember. Oh, Jennifer Ashley is the author. If you want, I really appreciate autistic leads. So this one was recommended. I forget. Yeah, Jennifer Ashley is the author. The title is The Madness of Lord Ian Mackenzie. Let me try and...
Well, one of my favorite romances by Shay Savage wrote Transcendence, which was this huge book in the romance community. I actually have an interview with her. I need to edit and post to YouTube. I adore this woman with her writing. She's so talented. Transcendence has over like 100,000 reviews or something. It was one of the best Goodreads books for one of the years. One of her other ones is Win Some, Lose Some. And I believe he's an autistic protagonist lead, and he was really well written. So if you're looking for other diverse reads, you can always come up with a list, because that one was absolutely fabulous. And it was part of the entire narrative. And the girl who becomes his romantic lead, the way she helped him and she understood it. Oh, I loved it. It was great. I'm going to throw that in the comments.
And it has the same, it's very similar.
There's some romance racks.
Yeah, so many racks, but
anyway.
Yeah, that would be my, that I'm actually rereading it now because it's one of my favorite.
And immediately has to go buy it because it's Tori approved. So this is a total random moment, but I just want to point out, I love the cover. It is fabulous. I love the font. I love the color scheme.
So cute.
But can we just point out that literally, I'm not entirely sure. I can throw this up like with the actual photo. So he's got the poison, putting it in her drink. It was not a man who did the poisoning. And also it wasn't poison. It was the medication that was overdone. And the lady has, let's see if I can do this. She has the knife over here, but she has scissors over here. And I'm like, wait a second. The bracelet goes in the reticule. Is this an accurate depiction of the story? Because I don't entirely think so, but I still love it.
I think it was a red herring too. I like immediately just assumed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was more so just like, oh, like it's not even necessarily Francis, you know? It was just like trying to show, it was just supposed to be, yeah, a red herring, not actually, you know. Can you imagine if the murderer was just on the cover of the book though?
Like, man, we didn't even need to read this. The clue was already there. We already solved it. Thank you so much for playing.
Reminds me of when I was a kid, I read a lot of Scooby-Doo books, and I used to go and flip to the back of the book, and there would be a photo, there'd be a drawing of the killer, because I wanted to know who did it before I even knew who did it. I just wanted to know.
And that's why you read romances, because you're happily ever after guarantee. You know the couple at the beginning is going to be the couple at the end. That's how this works.
Exactly. But I also I just wanted to spoil it for myself as a kid. I was like, no, I need to know who is the murderer. So I would flip to the back. Yeah, Scooby-Doo books as a kid. You can flip to the back of the book and you can see there will be a big photo of who did it as he's being unmasked. So like maybe I was the baby sleuther the whole time.
You were. That's why you have your magnifying glass ready and able. You're like, it's ready to go.
I'm ready. I'm here. I'm ready to sleuth.
I know thank you for, I don't know who the characters on the cover are meant to be, because I don't get the same vibes with these characters in the front. It does not remind me of George. I don't think he's going to poison anyone. And I don't think Francis is walking around with a knife. So I'm going to pretend those are fictional characters, not even in the fictional world that we're existing in.
Maybe it's the Viscount, the fake Viscount.
Maybe that's supposed to be the Viscount. Maybe that's supposed to be Delia. I'm not entirely sure. I thought she was blonde, but maybe artistic liberties.
Or it's Francis, running around trying to figure out who has the knife. But yeah, I thought I think it's a really pretty cover. I like a lot of like these drawn covers. I think are super cute. Depending. I think sometimes they're overdone, but I thought this was super cute.
I really like the book covers. I put up the image. I always make my images well in advance. I get very invested in making sure I can do the overlays to help out. I designed the background myself. Someone asked me this. I'm like, I actually drew this one. There are multiple ones that I've been using. Thank you. But yeah, I really think the book covers are well done. I like that they're consistent with the same font and tone across for the rest of the series. They're very aesthetically pleasing to me. And I also like the titles. I wanted to make sure I had one that just showcased the title. I mean, A Lady's Guide to Gossip and Murder, A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Murder. And it's always and murder. Fiance's Guide to First Wives and Murder. It's always and murder. So you know what you're getting into, the murder mystery novel. You know what you signed up for.
Somebody said, it was Sarah said, Delia brought a gun to her knife fight. LOL. I like that. Oh my god, real quick, the ending scene with her like falling off. I forgot to mention her just falling off the balcony was so over the top. Like, I imagined it was raining. It wasn't.
Beauty and the Beast vibes. Gaston.
Yes, it was Gaston. And her falling and like, like you imagine her arms flailing. It's like, 2 stories. It's not, it took 2 seconds. But imagining her just like
slow-mo.
Yeah, Gaston style, that was so over the top and I appreciated that. I was like, good. Thank you for being over the top.
Can we just acknowledge for a second that it's great that the house is what actually killed her. The house is the whole reason she killed Reggie and she wanted the money. The house is the whole reason she was doing what she was doing. And the house is what let her down in the end. There's something very literary about that.
It literally let her down.
Kim Novak. Yeah, so 3 deaths in book 1. True. Yeah, I mean, so 2 murders and that also one of my
manslaughter. The last one, a little. Well, no, I guess she kind of.
She felt her death. It was accidental, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was written up as accidental, but I was just gonna ask. So, what do you think about the ending in which Francis is aware of the fact that Delia killed Reggie, but she doesn't tell Reggie's brother, Graham, Delia's husband? She doesn't tell him. And she also doesn't really seem like she's in a rush to tell anybody else. So what do you think about her keeping that little information to herself?
I think I understand the tact of being like, hey, your wife just died. Maybe now is not the good time to tell you that she murdered your brother and tried to kill me. Like, I mean, there's a timing for things, but I do feel like, I mean, hopefully she tells it soon in the next book, like give him a week, But like, oh my gosh, yeah, I was like, oh no, you need to tell him. Like,
I was curious.
I guess it doesn't matter at this point, like everyone is gone, and you're not gonna, it's not like she's gonna start killing more people after death, like it's done. So I guess there doesn't need to be a rush, but yeah, I was like, he deserves to know that his, maybe the timing is wrong though, you know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I just saw there are two comments I really want to highlight. So Frances is good at keeping deadly secrets by Sarah. That is great. I love that. That is a great quote. And then I also love this. Technically, it was still a body drop with her. I love that Jess Loves Cozy wrote that. That was great. But then I understand the point about she's trying to protect the children.
Yeah.
Anya, she doesn't want Delia's children to know their mother was a murderer. But technically speaking, Delaney did receive the anonymous letter, and it would be helpful for him closing the file to know who did send that letter, and it was not so anonymous, and there was a motivation behind it. So maybe it should only be a partial secret for a couple of people.
Yeah, at least I think it makes sense to give him time, you know? Like, and then, hey, like at least a week or a couple days, you know? Like, you don't need to, you know, beat a dead horse type of thing, you know? Like, let him at least have like 24 hours before you're like, hey, by the way.
Oh, this is true. Why do the children have to know just because she told Graham through? And then this was like,
I would. Graham can tell the children if that is up to him, you know, but yeah, she won't be killing more people. That's
but I like
true.
I like the rest of it though, because I'm almost getting a prequel vibe of if she wanted to do something before she fell off the balcony. Did she kill before? We don't know. I mean, there could be a whole backstory of other men and people that she took out. We're not sure what Delia did before she was married. Maybe Graham had another girl he was interested in. She got her out of the way. There could have been other things, and it could have helped Delaney close a couple more case files.
One of my favorite, it's a nonfiction book called Lady Killer. And it is all about female serial killers. So it's pretty it's not actually that like dark, and as long as you're fine with true crime. But yeah, Lady Killer. So I'm like, what if she would be in there, you know, like she's actually, you know, like Graham had a bunch of like you know, people he was courting before her, and she's like, now he doesn't.
No, I want to be the Countess. I want to be over, like, I mean, she could have totally, we don't know what Delia did, so maybe she should tell Delaney and help him close a couple of case files.
Grace says she traveled to South Africa and killed the real Viscount for no reason. Just like, you know what? You gotta get it done.
I mean, this woman, she could have, we don't know what's going on. For some reason, I'm picturing Mila Kunis and what was it? The American Psycho, the sequel when she played that. I don't know why. I just was picturing her little face right there when she killed to get into the FBI. It was a whole big thing.
I am here for women's rights and women's wrongs.
Can we just, okay, but why was she killed to be with Graham? Maybe she always planned to kill Reggie. Maybe there was a whole thing going on. Maybe she was hoping
I think this was
ways would take him out at the knees.
I'm sure this was just like, you know, convenient, and you know, a lot of repression going on in, you know, English society at that time for women. So it makes sense that she's just trying to, you know, take her. I mean, it's all about power in the end, you know. Like Frances found her power through the death of her husband, you know, and money. And how else is, you know, is Delia going to find her power other than, you know, again, I'm here for women's rights and women's wrongs.
You're like, and not just bad fashion faux pas, not just, yeah.
No,
not just the little things.
Listen, you know what? I'm Team Delia now. No.
You're like, this just took a turn.
You know what? I changed my mind. Delia did nothing wrong.
Oh, jeez. Well, on that note, if anyone else has any questions or comments they would like to throw in, anything else you want to say about these characters, now is the time to definitely get that out.
I'm writing fan fiction right now about why Delia deserved better.
You're like, every woman was let down back in the olden days.
Exactly.
So funny.
God forbid a woman have hobbies.
Even if they're murder, apparently.
Yeah.
I love you. Yeah, people are. I love that. That's so cute. I know. I'm gonna pull up her information. So if you guys want more fun, I was trying to go back to find and and here's her information. If you want more fun little quips.
I will say I do write, but my books tend to not be all that funny. I realize, like, when I speak to people, they're like, "Oh, you must write comedy." I'm like, "No, sorry," but.
Oh, so I just saw the comment. What is next month's book? Yes, I always have to do my little summation to make sure everyone knows what's going on. So I love how I get to go do this. So we get to do the check mark. I mean, it's always so gratifying when you get to do that. Where's my little video clip? Because I also have the little video to show where it goes. And now we have the 2 check marks. I don't know why. That is just, how are we already at the end of February? Where is the time going? So thank you for shaking your head. Like, I don't know either.
I don't know.
I can't believe, I'm happy to be talking with y'all. But I just can't believe it's already the last Tuesday of the month. Well, next month's book is Bayou Book Thief by Ellen Byron. And I absolutely adore Ellen Byron. She did a live stream for Cozy Mystery Book Club Day. I believe it was this past year, and she is so fabulous. She's very talented. She's won multiple Agatha Awards. So this is just one of her series. She's a great cozy mystery author, and I'm so excited to be highlighting this book with y'all. Again, every title is submitted by and voted on by the book club members. I actually don't even vote because I don't want to have any sway. I don't even tell y'all which books I'm hoping to win, but I was very glad to see this one won. And we already have a little peacock designed and ready to go. That sticker is all printed up, the designs. I did the name reveals. We have Luke the llama, we have Whimsy the peacock, and then Higgins the bear. And so Whimsy is our peacock logo now. But next month, Ellen is also offering to do a giveaway for the second book in the Vintage Cookbook series, which is the one Bayou Book Thief. So if you like this book, she's going to offer and probably sign the copy. So that's a fun little giveaway too for next month. But Bayou Book Thief, Ellen Byron, I am blown away that we're entering March. I don't know how this time is going on.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I know.
I'm time for Mardi Gras.
Well, she actually has a series set in New Orleans. Is this the one set in New Orleans? She has one. So maybe this is perfect for it. But I know the thought process for March is always green book covers for St. Patrick's Day. Mm-hmm. So I was very happy to see that this was, there's a peacock on the book cover. The peacock with the green feathers over there. I love you guys. You guys have great taste. And there's so many comments coming in. I'm missing them.
Said Lady Gizmo said, I read that Ellen Byron is so happy our book club is reading it. That's so cute.
She's very sweet and very supportive. I've been doing the book. So the very first live stream was in 2018, the book club and the book tag. And it was the Cozy Mystery Book Club tag and the Cozy Mystery tag that was announced in 2017. And it's so strange to say how long that I've been doing this. But out of all of the years, a lot of authors have done 12 Days of Cozies and participated in stuff, but I don't always get messages saying, thank you for highlighting the book. I'm so happy to see this on Instagram, or I don't get a lot of messages, but Ellen is always reposting, sharing. She's so appreciative and so thankful. And it's weird to say, like, I appreciate her appreciation because it's so sweet and so genuine. It makes me want to highlight her again and again because she's so genuine about it. So I think her being so sweet about it being a book club pick, she's almost won multiple rounds, but her book has always come in second. And again, I don't vote, and I'm going, oh, I kind of want to push it up there, but I always honor what wins. I always let you guys actually have final say. Nothing goes on.
Text me what you want and I'll vote for you. I'll pad the ballots.
I let you guys, your votes ring true. They really do. These really are your final results. And so her book has come in second, I think, like 3 years in a row. So she was bound to have a win. So I'm very happy to have her have a win. She deserved to have a win. So I'm very excited. Very excited to highlight her book next month.
I will be reading it on the subway.
That's kind of funny. She has a book set in New York. I forget which one it is, but she has one set in New York, which might be more up your alley. But I know some people keep an eye out this. So our Christmas buddy read. I forget if it was the first book or second book in the series by Christina Romrell. That one was recently on sale for $1.99 or $2.99. Someone mentioned that this book series was available with, I forget if it was like the KU or Spotify, or there was one other thing. So if you guys ever come across that the audiobook is on Spotify or this is available somewhere on sale, let me know and I'll share the information, because it's always really great when you guys have that info, because sometimes I don't always see everything.
I went to an indie bookstore recently, and they recommended Libro, Libro.fm is a really good place so that you can get audiobooks, and it'll actually give the money to your favorite indie bookseller versus, Amazon.
That's really nice.
So
Thank you for knowing which one. Regina Williams. Regina is awesome. Seriously, shout out to Regina. We'll get into something else in a second, because she was on the Chatting Cozies podcast. So thank you for knowing it is her catering hall series set in New York, and it's Maria DeRico with the pen name. Thank you for knowing that. And because Regina just popped up, she gave me a little reminder. So something fun. I think I might have made reference to this in like a little bit of a roundabout, trying to be coy way. So I have been very, very productive, and I'm kind of proud of myself. I have been doing very well. Oh, thank you for my little image popping up. So the Chatting Cozies podcast and the Cozy Mystery Book Club podcast, there is going to be a brand new episode of the Chatting Cozies podcast every month until June. So I have a brand new episode scheduled for the second Tuesday of the month every month. So we have one for March, April, May, and June. So I'm so happy to reveal that. There are a couple author interviews, a couple book discussions. So Regina is currently, I'm so proud of myself that I finally got this done. This has been in the works for such a long time. As I kind of laugh about it, I want to have a backup system with the podcast and with YouTube. So there is a new YouTube channel just for the Chatting Cozies podcast. And right now, my chat with Regina, the Santaland Killings, the Mrs. Claus series, that's the conversation that's currently there. And I have the new one coming up for the March reveal set as a premiere. So you can hit the notification button, subscribe, however you want to do that. But right now, Regina has the prime location with being the first video there discussing the Santaland Killings with Mrs. Claus. So just want to give Regina a shout out and thank you for reminding me. So hi. Oh, you guys are so cute. Oh, thank you. Thank you for offering to do the thumbs up. That's so sweet. That's so sweet.
I had so much fun. Thank you for inviting me. And I'm happy. I will be happy to come back. This was so much fun.
I'm so glad I get to see you, because again, you guys, it's so funny. I made the images because I wanted to show how long like I've known this woman. Again, you're supposed to be an impartial interviewer, and I did I did a lot of interviews for the dissertation.
Oh yeah, we talked for like an hour and a half or something. I think by the end of it, you were like, can we be best friends? And I was like, yes, of course.
It was just so funny because I kept saying like, and I'm hitting pause on the interview. I'm like, take off my interviewer cap and like just talking to you as a person now. I agree with you saying that. And I'm like, interview cap back on, because every time she would say something, she was speaking to my little reader Hart. And so again, like we're laughing so hard, and I had the best time hanging out with you. This was back in 2018, I'm pretty sure, or 2019. Like it was such a long time ago, but I've kept this woman because she's so fabulous. And she brought out, again, it's so funny that I do this book club and I'm talking to you guys right now, and there's an audience of people listening and talking. I mean, it's great. But my little introverted self, I mean, she took me under her wing and took care of me. So I'm very appreciative of her, not just for doing an interview with me, but then like keeping me and being such a good person. And I mean, she's from New York. When it was the RWA in New York, like, let's go out, let's go do lunch. And we're going, yes, please take me with you. Like she's great.
I got a place. I have a place everywhere. So yeah, I'm so happy. Yeah, randomly serendipitous, finding on Twitter and me being like, I guess, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll say yes. I'm an extrovert, so I was like, yeah, sure. I hate speaking on the phone, but that's fine. I'll do it. So I was,
and years later, we're still in contact. I mean,
exactly.
It was meant to be.
Exactly.
Like this is when social media does things right. This is when social media, actually works in your favor.
When Twitter was better.
You're like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You're like, there's a reason we're on Threads now. I still have the so the Cozy Mystery Book Club is officially, so the Twitter is still active, but what I did was I've been using Hootsuite to just sync the threads in Twitter. So basically you can just go onto Threads or Twitter, but it's the same content, but Hootsuite allows me to just duplicate it. But yeah, so we're on, the Cozy Mystery Book Club is on, it's still on Twitter, but Threads and Blue Sky. So all of the cozy content. So you're not necessarily as active on Twitter, but her Instagram is still very active, or at least it's still active-ish. Like, this is their information.
Yeah, I'm Loose Writer on Twitter, Instagram. I think I'm that on TikTok as well. And that's my website, I think, is Loose Writer. Yeah, loosewriter.com. Sorry, I was lucky I got that everywhere. I'm not too active. I have to revive my Insta. I really have to revive my Instagram. I've been bad about it.
So I didn't even know you had a podcast. Okay, people.
Oh, yeah.
I did not know. I have known her, again, talking about how long I've known her. We send each other Christmas and birthday gifts and everything else. I adore her. I'm keeping her forever. I know you very well, but I did not know you had a podcast. And you are, what, 80 episodes in? I did not know this.
I forget to plug it anywhere. But yeah, if it's called Terminally Online, my roommate and I have a podcast we do every other week. And it is all about the internet and what you missed on the internet. And we are two women who spend too much time on the internet and try to focus on the really silly things, that's going on, like interpersonal drama in subreddit communities. We're trying to get away from too much political stuff because that's in there, but we're both very much online, so it's really fun to to talk about what you missed. It's my roommate and I who have lived together for like 5 years now, and there is I think this week's episode has it. My roommate's cat does come on and do cat ASMR, and he basically just purrs really loudly into the mic. So if you want that and you just want to listen to the first minute, he's purring.
That's kind
of
amazing.
That.
I know.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
That in my life. Daisy was snoring yesterday. My dog was snoring. I'd rather have cute purring than Daisy have the little hiccupy snores. It's Daisy and she's adorable and everything she does is adorable, but I like the cat purring. That sounds more relaxing than a dog sounding as if she's having a moment.
Yeah, we call it cat ASMR. We just basically hold him up to the mic and he just purrs like a jet engine. It's really funny.
Oh, I also love that I'm the dog mom and you're the cat mom. I think that's so cute. We get both.
It's perfect.
Best of both worlds. Yes, I do want that. We do want that in our lives.
It's important. And his name is Bourdain, after Anthony Bourdain. So we just say, yeah, Bourdain is going to purr into the mic, which if you don't know that it's a cat, sounds a little funny. But
we need some context for this. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad you took the time to do this, and I'm so glad and appreciate you for reading. I'm so glad you enjoyed this book, and it was a great introduction for cozy mysteries for you. I really do think it probably spoke to that historical romance reading Hart. You're nodding.
Yeah.
Ellie.
Oh yeah. It was a good it was like a good gateway drug, a gateway cozy mystery. So I hear you like historical romances. Have you considered historical cozy mystery?
I think that was my text message. I'm like, I think these would be a good book for this. She's been planning to be the guest here for a very long time. This was in the works. So I'm very glad that this was the book for you and that it was a good introduction and you enjoyed it and it was right. It made you happy.
Yes, I really enjoyed it. It wasn't one of those, where you're like, okay, I have to get through this. Oh gosh, and you're skimming half of it. No, I was like, oh my, I genuinely enjoyed it. This was a really fun book, and I think part of it, is because the author did a really good job. Gave everyone a lot of agency. The word of the day,
keyword for the night, our keyword.
Yeah, the English lit people coming out, is This episode is sponsored by A for agency. The letter of the day is A.
It kind of works for me.
A for agency. So no, I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. I do want her to get, my romance heart did want them to get together, but it was a slow burn, so I'm waiting for it. I have faith.
So here's the question then. This is my question for you and people in the comments. Will you want to read book 2? Your game.
Unless if they don't get together though by the end of book 8, I will have words.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yes.
In the by book 2 there, so I have my little notation, so if you guys really want spoilers, it's all in the book blurbs. This is not real spoilers. So Lily is almost engaged in book 2, Lily's engaged by book 3, and Francis and George are official by book 3, and they're engaged by book 4.
Okay, good.
So,
I mean, you can't tease us with, I would be really surprised if they weren't, you know. I mean, you can't be like, hello, here is a great guy who will help you hide a dead body, and you don't marry him.
Arm's length for everything else.
No, I get that. I'm fine with slow burns, you know, but not if there's no payoff, you know. So
like, it needs to be leading somewhere, which I appreciate.
Yeah, exactly. No,
so
I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I'll have to read book 2 now.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just saw Sarah say no spoilers. I hope you muted or fast forwarded, or that wasn't too much of a spoiler for you. I apologize. I know, please. But I mean, you can probably see that coming, though. Hopefully,
it's not that big of a spoiler.
Okay, I don't want to ruin anyone's reading experience. I don't know who the murderers are. I don't know anything like that, so I won't reveal anything. But no, thank you so much. I just saw some people say good night. We have been talking for a while. I mean, you're just so easy to chat with. But if you guys have any other final comments, get them in now, because we will say good night. I didn't realize we've been talking for almost 2 hours. That is incredible. I mean, that just goes to show how great this book was, how easy you are to chat with, and the fact that you guys have stayed the whole night is amazing. So big shout out and thank you to everyone who's been here. I mean, I'm always so appreciative that, I mean, I can make a book club, but the fact that people join and participate is amazing. So there would be no book club without people sleuthing with me. So thank you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I have to, my podcast is only an hour long, and my roommate cuts me off too, because I can talk forever, and I love talking to you, so I can just keep talking.
It's very easy to lose track of the time. So
you know, we'll hit end stream and keep going, you know.
I mean, I'm very appreciative of you for doing this, taking the time out of your night to chat with me, everyone in the comments for participating, for reading the book, for being a part of the book club. We spoiled you with the long chat. It's absolute pleasure to chat with this amazing woman, to chat with you guys. I'm so glad you enjoyed the book. I'm so glad everyone in the comments seemed to have enjoyed the book and enjoyed this long conversation. We did talk much longer than our typical Cozy Mystery Book Club night, but I mean, I'm very happy that you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. So thank you. And thank you everyone else. I'm when you say thank you for putting it together, it is my pleasure, my honor. I'm so appreciative of everyone joining tonight, because again, I can want to talk about Cozy Mysteries, but unless there's someone to celebrate the Cozy Mysteries with, this would just be an idea. So I'm very appreciative of everyone for joining. So thank you. I love how you guys are saying thank you. I'm like, no, thank you. Like, thank you, spreading the love for you. But thank you guys for joining. And next month, I'll just pull it up very, very quickly so you guys can see it again in case you missed it. So next month, the book is Bayou Book Thief, and it's always the last Tuesday of the month every month, 7 p.m. EST, right here on YouTube. My last name is Hart, H-A-R-T, hence BookTube is going to be Books Are My Heart, Angela Hart. Hopefully it makes sense. I love how this is going to be a podcast episode, and I always have to spell it out, H-A-R-T, because I want to make sure people understand. I don't want any spelling mistakes here. But next month, Bayou Book Thief by Ellen Byron. So hopefully we'll have another great night. And I know Marta is in the comments, and I do have that thumbnail, and I will pull it up very, very quickly. So Marta was here tonight. So Marta and then Nicole Aslan are going to be the guests for next month. So Marta is one of you. I'm going to tell you, spoiler alert, you guys stayed the whole night. I'll tell you, Marta is one of the guest hosts for the Chatting Cozies podcast as well. That episode we recorded a long time ago. Finally have it edited, finally scheduled. So Marta is going to be the guest host next month, and she's going to be on the podcast. So all sorts of appreciation and sleuthing fun. So shout out to Marta. So there's the thumbnail for that. So thank you so much, you guys. And thank you again for joining. Tori, Eliza, both versions of you are wonderful, and thank you for doing this. And then thank you guys for joining. Oh, thank you guys. Oh, you're so grateful to Found Book Club. That makes me so happy. Thank you guys, and please stay safe, kind, and creative. And as always, happy reading, writing, and sleuthing. Bye, everyone.